It's deja vu all over again for the Leafs as they lose a Game 1 to a team from Florida. Hey everyone, welcome into another SUN Sports Roundtable. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun Sports columnist Steve Simmons and Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writer Terry Koshan. And guys, it didn't look the same as the Game 1 loss to the Lightning, but in the end, the Leafs dropped their series opener to the Florida Panthers. Steve, what were your biggest takeaways from game number 1?
Well, my biggest takeaway is that Matthew Tkachuk, dominated the game the way he dominated the season and the way he kind of dominated the Boston Bruins in the first round of the playoffs. He's he's going to be a Hart Trophy finalist. He had 3 points, 9 hits, influenced the game in so many different ways. And the Leafs' big four, 1 point, he had 3. There's your game and good night.
Yeah, the Tkachuk impact was huge, and at the other end, Sergei Bobrovsky has a good game for the Panthers. I don't think it's a huge concern for the Leafs. It shouldn't be. The one thing that they didn't do last night that they did better in the Tampa series was getting people in front of Bobrovsky. It just wasn't happening for the Leafs. Keith mentioning after that he didn't think that they had a lot going 5-on-5, so that has to change. But how does that change? It's kind of like what Steve alluded to. Your top players have to be those guys now and kind of take control of this game. It's an interesting one last night. A guy like William Nylander has 7 shots on goal, and Matthews was all over the net as he usually is, or around the net, I should say, with shots. But they still didn't have that sort of impact that you would expect them to have now into the second round. But the Leafs got in front of Vasilevsky in round 1. We saw what happened. They have to start doing that better tomorrow night in game 2. One thing that would concern me, I think, is what Sheldon Keefe said last night, is that the game at least was a step quicker, the pace, than what the Leafs saw in round 2. So now it's on them, the Leafs, to kind of, to dictate Thursday night and get around that. But they're going to have to find a way to combat that and several other things.
You can't play Florida's game, and they did last night. They played Florida's game. And one of the interesting matchups to me, and it's not a matchup on the ice as much as it's a matchup that you're going to talk about, is you've got Austin Matthews, last year's Hart Trophy winner, and you've got Tkachuk, this year probably going to be a Hart Trophy finalist, both from Scottsdale, Arizona. They grew up in some ways playing with and against each other. Yeah. And here they are in this spotlight. And I thought Matthews played pretty darn well last night, but what he didn't do was complete the job. There were chances. There were opportunities. He had at least 4 chances that I would call Austin Matthews goals kind of things. You got to bury those. Yep. And he didn't do that last night. And so right now it's Tkachuk 1 and Matthews 0.
So Terry brought up Sergei Bobrovsky, who definitely had a great game for the Panthers, and maybe isn't the same guy that he used to be, Terry, but as you talked about, maybe it's not a huge concern for you moving forward. There was a lot of talk about Andrei Vasilevsky last series, maybe not so much about Bobrovsky this series. Is that something that you're looking at moving forward here as maybe something that could creep up as the series continues, or is it still something that you just think one game, it's just a performance by a guy who definitely has that in him?
Well, he does have it in it, there's no doubt, but it's playoff hockey, so you're going to get good goaltending. It's on you as a coaching staff, the Leafs and the players, the best ones, to figure out how to make him ineffective. And like we said, the Leafs did that with Vasilevsky in the first round. They got not only get in front of him, but just the way they were deflecting pucks. I mean, we saw it with Chari and Kerfoot and Matthews. So it wasn't just the top guys doing it. It was everybody involved. That has to happen now in game 2 and going forward. And I realized, too, it's not going to be like that every game. There were games the Leafs were better at it in the first round with Vasilevsky than they were in others.
Sergei Bobrovsky is a study. He can be fantastic. He can be erratic. He has been all of that through most of his career. And so you never know game to game and moment to moment who the goalie is. And so I think the Leafs have to test him more. And I don't mean it by getting more shots. I mean by more quality shots. They had opportunities last night. There were all kinds of opportunities. They didn't cash in on them. And you're going to have to get traffic in front of him. You're going to have to get traffic in front of every goalie. But I don't see Bobrovsky as a series-changing goaltender, and I don't think he will be in this circumstance. I think he's a guy that the Leafs can take advantage of with the way they move the puck around, but they have to do it better and they have to shoot better than they shot last night. And I can't count really on one hand the number of what I would call great saves he made last night. He made some good ones, but he didn't have like the shot. If the shot was 4 inches high, it should have been 6. If you understand what I'm saying, that's where they messed up. In my opinion, they had opportunities. They didn't take advantage of them.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, like I said, they got to. I just think more in front of them, and the execution too, right? Steve was not good last night, all over the ice for the Leafs. So if it's not good if it's not good in the defensive zone, if it's not in the neutral zone, then guess what? It's not going to be in the offensive zone either.
They were guessing.
All three.
I'm not sure why they were guessing last night, but they were jumpy with the puck and they were guessing, and that's not Leaf hockey. They're a controlled hockey team when they're at their best. And I didn't see
it as guessing so much as just things weren't connected.
Well, you look at, I'll use McCabe. McCabe might be the best example. Mm-hmm. How many times did McCabe go to make a big hit? Mm-hmm. And the hit was good. That put his team in peril because he was now out of position.
Well, the one obvious one is the goal, but Brody plays that badly as well, right?
But I'm saying, like, you're going to make a play, and it winds up costing you because you make that kind of play.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
You can't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely things for the Leafs to clean up in game number 2. Let us know your thoughts on these topics in the comments below. For Steve Simmons and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time on another SUN Sports Roundtable.